Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. You've tuned in to ALH Broadcasting, and this is Andrea L. Hines, your host for When Life Speaks. I'm glad you accepted the invitation to connect with us as we share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it's a blessing to your life, it just may be for someone else as well. So tag, share, invite someone, then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to When Life Speaks. I am your host, Andrea L. Hines, and you tuned into ALH Broadcasting, and I am glad that you did. We have a good program for you tonight. It is an E2 segment, and I'll tell you what that is in just a minute. But I want to let you know that this is not going to be a long program tonight. This is going to be what I call a short show. Whenever we come on and we do an E2 segment, E2 stands for an evening of encouragement. And sometimes I will come on and I will simply read poetry or read something to you that would be uplifting, encouraging, and empowering. And then sometimes, like tonight, we'll do something a little different. We have different segments that we come into when we do When Life Speaks. We do have our stories of strength and our testimonies of triumph. We have those. We have our senior sidebar, things that are important to the senior community and things that are important to you if you are understanding that you're going to get older one day as well. So we have our senior sidebar. We have, what else do we have? We have Keep Faith Flowing. We have a lot of different things, and we have the E2 segments like we have tonight. And sometimes those segments are used. I use them in order to set up what's coming, what's getting ready to happen, what is on the horizon for us and for you here at When Life Speaks. So that's kind of what we're going to go over tonight. Let me tell you, we had a great time in March. We had a great time. We were doing things revolving around the art of aging. And there were so many things that we got to cover and so many great comments that we had about that show and what was going on and what was important. Excuse me. So one of the things that happened in that program, that one of the topics kept coming up over and over again as being so very important, and that topic was communication. How do you have healthy communication, especially when you are at a place of not struggle, but a place where it was easy to misunderstand what was being said, to not be able to communicate how you really felt about a situation, to know that there was something that was unresolved that had to be dealt with, and just not knowing how to go about it. So as we did all of that and talked through some things, I promised that I would come back and we would just explore some things a little bit deeper than we had done during those segments that we had. So we decided to tackle, and I say we because I have a village, and those are people who don't necessarily want to be on camera. They don't necessarily want to be co-hosts or anything, but they have valuable insight and valuable input. And I like to reach out to them from time to time to see what it is they think about the topic that is at hand and on our hearts. So that's what I did with this. Healthy communication is very important. You're not going to get through life without communicating. And you want to do it in a way that does not leave you resentful, does not leave you at a place where you're having to forgive someone for something that was said that you can't take back. All of those things come into play. So we came up with the ABCs of healthy communication. Now, this is how we hope this is going to run. Let me see who is out here in the comment section. Let's see. Yes, Victoria. Good evening to you, lady. Thank you so much for being here. And Francina, thank you as well. And I'm going to ask one of you to just put in the comments section the email address that we have for the village, and that is speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. That's speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. Hold on just a second. That's going to be, excuse me, that's going to be important later on because I do want people to feel comfortable in commenting. Okay, so we've got the ABCs of communication, of healthy communication. And I want to let you know tonight what those things are, what those 26 things are. Now, let me explain to you as I do all the time. This is just my opinion. I am not coming to you as a certified anything. I am not coming to you with a graduate of anything or a doctorate of anything having to do with the topics that we're talking about. I'm just coming to you with life experience, the things that I've learned, the things that I have seen, and what is going on that may be helpful to you in the long run. Let me see, Francina, make sure I can get this up. Yes, Speak Life with Andrea@gmail.com. Okay. Anybody else on the line that wants that right now, it's going to be there for a little while. And I'm going to refer you to it. I'm going to refer you to that in a little bit. Thank you, Francine. I appreciate that. So as we looked at this topic about healthy communications, there are some words and some phrases that stuck out to me based on the conversations that we had had and the things that we had talked about in the art of aging. There may be many other things that you see that you think, oh, I don't know, not so much. I'm not feeling that one. And then there are other things that you look at and you think, well, whew, yeah, that's an important one. That's one that I can't do without and say that I've got healthy communication going on. Pastor Kelvin, good evening to you, sir. I would like, and I'm just going to drop this out there, nothing you have to do, but this is something that I would love for you to give to your leadership team and have them send it back to me if they would like to do so, because I think that some of these things, not just through an aging process, not just through a relationship process, but these things I think are particularly important in our church world and our church lives, because so many times people will leave because somebody has said something to them the wrong way, or they have taken it the wrong way. So some of these 26 things may be very important. And if they would like to participate in this, I certainly would love to have them do that. Nakayeta, good evening to you. Been so long. Glad to have you in the house tonight. Ida, glad to have you in as well. Thank you all for sharing. Okay, now, if you want to get a pencil, great. If you don't want to get a pencil, not a problem. But if there is something in these words and phrases that just kind of hit you, just write it down. Write it down. Put it in the comment section. I will be sure to write it down on my side so that we can explore it more fully. And I already know that there are one or two where we're going to do that. So let's start. We're going to start with A. We're going to work our way down to Z. And I'm not going to take but 30 minutes to get it done. How about that? unless you all want to talk. And you know, I'm always willing to talk back and forth with everybody on the line. So we'll just see how it goes. A, I started with A, and for A, the word was awareness. Now, let me tell you why I said awareness. Sometimes we can just lose track of what's going on and what we're even talking about. Do you ever have a conversation with somebody? And I did this week. I was talking with somebody, and we got to a point of saying, "Well, wait a minute. That wasn't what we started talking about. That wasn't the original question that was asked." You know, I'm answering to something that really isn't a part of what you're really trying to find out and really trying to know. You've got to be aware of what you're actually trying to get to the bottom of. You know, what am I trying to get resolved here? What am I trying to get you to understand here? And what am I seeing in you that may be shifting the way that I continue to respond? Be aware of movements, be aware of body language, be aware of non-verbal things. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. And there are some things in this list that you're going to look at and say, "Oh boy, I didn't think about that before." But awareness is one. Now, the second one I had down was beware of the barriers. There are many, many things that can get in the way of you having healthy communication. And I don't need to list them, because let me tell you, when you hear the things that are a part of this little study that we're doing, you will hear things that you know will be a barrier to how you communicate. And if you want to put that down before further discussion, just put barrier and put next to it what that thing is. When you hear it, you'll know exactly what it is. I can list 5 right off the top of my head right now, but I want you to just be aware. Things are not as difficult all of the time as we think they are. If we keep these things in mind, and not just in mind, but in application of the way that we exchange ideas, the way that we try to get our points across, what we are discovering, what we are not discovering. And I know one thing right off the bat, and it's not even in this list, but one of the most important things that we have to be careful of is it better to be right, or is it better to save the relationship? Is it better? I mean, is it really that important that you have the last word? Is it really that important that you get in your part and tell them what you think they need to know? Is that really that important when you're trying to resolve issues that may be legacy issues or lifetime issues? Is it that important? These are things you got to think about, because they're going to happen. They're going to come up. And if you want to be healthy and you want the people that you're conversing with to be healthy as well, it's something you got to keep in mind and be ready to apply. C, the C I had was clear and concise. Clear and concise. If you are not clear on what you're saying, the response is going to be unclear. You don't have to always build the clock when someone says, "What time is it?" Sometimes you need to just get to the point, make it clear. Be sure that the person understands exactly what you are asking and exactly what you're saying. And it is okay, because that leads us into D, which is discussion versus dialogue. It is okay to say, "Wait a minute, let's step back for a minute. And let's talk a little bit more about what it is you're trying to explain to me, or what it is you need me to see, or how I want you to understand my point of view and how I am looking at things." So let me tell you, and as I go through this list, any one of these things can be discussed solely alone by themselves and take us into next week. But we're not going to do that. And as you all are responding, then I am going to build the next few shows around the things that you feel are most important. So that's why we're doing it this way. Nikaeta says, make it make sense. Oh, I tell you what, we can slide that as a subtopic right under that clear and concise piece, and the piece that says discussion versus dialogue. Now, I want to talk about that because those things, those two things, are very closely related. The point that I want to get across, whether you see it as discussion or whether you see it as dialogue, it's not one person's story. You have to have a going back and forth. You have to have an exchange of ideas. You have to have an exchange of how I feel versus how you feel. You have to have an exchange and be able to do that through discussion and dialogue. You're not going to accomplish anything without it. And it does you no good if you want to say, I want to talk to you about something. Sometimes you really need to say, I want to talk at you about something, because you don't give the other person an opportunity and a safe place and a good space in order to really communicate with you. So the discussion versus dialogue, that part is just simply, it's not a solo thing. It's not going to be a one person show. There's got to be an exchange that happens and happens in the right way. The next one is very, very clear, and that is emotional management. You have to be able to maintain emotional management. You won't get anywhere without it. If I am getting angry in the midst of what we're talking about, and you're not aware that something in the atmosphere has shifted, we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere. I was watching something on television, and a mother and son were talking about something. I'll just say something because it did not matter what they were talking about. Didn't make any difference. Whatever subject that they broached, please excuse me, whatever subject that they broached, something was triggered. They didn't like the way they said it. That's not what I'm talking about. See, you do this every time. You're always bringing up the past. You're always been, and they would walk away angry every single time. And I watched that and I thought to myself, that could have been avoided. That didn't have to happen that way. But if you don't know, if you're not willing to even take a small step and say, you know what, if I could just change this a little bit, if I could just shift this a little bit, it would change the way that I communicate with everybody. It's not just a spouse issue. It's not just a boss issue. It's not just a leadership issue. Whatever, wherever you are, whoever you're around, a friend, foe, whatever, these things are going to come up. How badly do you want to have healthy communication? Are you willing to change? Are you willing to listen and look at some of these things and say, oh, you know, I did that the other day. Maybe, maybe if I had done it a different way, the outcome would have been different as well. So emotional management. Know what triggers you. Know the thing. Now, for me, one thing I know for sure, that if you are yelling at me, it's over. I haven't I haven't heard and will not hear anything else that you have to say. That will shut me down quicker than anything. Quicker than anything. No, it is totally unnecessary for you to raise your voice in order to communicate with me. And sometimes I may have to tell you that, and that I is coming up a little later down the road here. Okay, fully engage, be there, be present, be in the moment. What I do not like, and what always comes up when we talk about these issues, especially when it came up in the art of aging. Uh, Put the phone down, please. Would you? Can you? Is it okay? Would you do that for the sake of those who are trying to hear you and listen to you and understand whatever it is that you're trying to say? Put the phone down. Be fully engaged. There's something wrong if you can't get through a meal without scrolling. How does that happen? Be fully engaged, fully engaged. I'm going to leave that right there because I'll get on the soapbox and won't get down. Okay. Giving up is not an option. You got to come to a resolution. You've got to figure out a way, particularly when you're dealing with a loved one. And particularly if you hit these trigger points over and over and over again. Don't give up. Don't walk away. Don't just make the decision, this is too hard. I don't want to deal with it. I find this especially when I talk with married couples or have had the opportunity to sit in on marriage seminars and things like that, or talk to people who have been married for years and years and years. My parents were married almost 58 years. Um, there is something about an understanding of a covenant relationship, a true covenant relationship that says, I am in it for the long haul. I am in it for the long haul. Now, it doesn't happen all the time. Didn't happen with me. There's situations and circumstances and things that happen that leaving is the best thing to do and the right thing to do, but have the right reason for doing it. And a lot of times it's simply, I don't want to play anymore. Not because it's not healthy for me, not because it is abusive to me. None of those things. I just don't want to put the work in. I don't want to do it anymore. Don't just give up. Don't just walk away from conversations and things that may, in the long run, be very, very helpful to you. And it's something that you need to think about. Honesty, that's it. I don't need to say anything else about honesty. You all got it. You know. Let me write this down real quick. Pastor Kelvin, you said be present. And Francina, you talked about eye contact. Okay. Now, I need to know from you, is this something that you feel is really important, or is it something you want us to discuss further? So just let me know that in the comments, and I'll be sure to put it in the right space. Okay. The other thing was after honesty was I messages. And they're important. It's important for the other person to know that some things are not okay. And it's all right to say, I feel this way when you did this, or I felt that way when you made that comment or that statement. If I don't relay those I messages and you don't know, you will not know that what you're saying is hurting me or offensive to me, there can be no fix, there can be no change, and there can be no adjustment. I messages are just that they are important. They're very important. So if that's something that you want to talk about a little bit more, that is perfectly fine. We will get to it. Jay, jumping to conclusions. You gotta avoid jumping to conclusion. I remember I was getting very frustrated and very angry with someone, and I had not started the dialogue or the discussion or the conversation with asking them how they felt. Um, they volunteered that information. And when I realized and when I recognized what they were going through at the time, I thought, wow. It changed my entire perspective. begin at the beginning sometimes. And sometimes beginning at the beginning means going back a little farther than what your issue may be that you want to discuss in that moment and at that time. Okay, I'm going to leave that one there. Jumping to conclusions. Jumping to conclusions. Be knowledgeable about whatever it is you decide to talk about. And if you're not, say so. It's perfectly all right not to know everything. Can you imagine? Okay, the next one is to listen effectively. Listen effectively. And you know what that says? Learn to stop talking. Just don't interrupt. Allow the person to get out what they need to get out. Let them say what they're going to say because it may change everything that you are thinking about the conversation and your need to respond to whatever it is. Just because you know it and you see it doesn't mean you have to say it. Doesn't mean that. So listen effectively. Have a mutual commitment. You got to have a mutual commitment to make it work. If to and again, I say these are things that we have come up with. This is not the be all and end all because there's certainly other things that can go with these letters and these phrases. Let me see. Francine is saying it's important to me. Let me see, Francine. I'm working with a new device, so I don't know whether I can get everything up. It's important to me. It lets me know you're in tune to my conversation, being respectful. And that's going to come up in a later one, Francina. And this says, don't interrupt the conversation. Don't speculate and don't try to interpret what you think the other person is saying, what you think the other person means. No, they're right there. You can ask them. You can ask them. You can go back to that place of being clear and being concise. Let me be clear. Just say, let me be clear. I want to understand. I want to make sure that I am hearing what you want me to hear. Nonverbal cues are important. Own what's yours. And I think I'm going to leave that right there because that does not need any further information. Own what's yours. No blame game. Own what's yours. If you did it, you did it. Everybody else knows you did it. Why don't you know you did it? Own it so that you can do something about it. That's the important thing. Patience, and I think Pastor Calvin had put up something about patience. Yes, patience is a virtue, and we had patience down here as well. Patience also promotes cooperation. Slow down a little bit. Slow down a little bit, so that you can really be aware of what's going on and what's happening. You ever have a conversation and you're listening to somebody or you're talking with somebody and you realize this is not about that. It's about something entirely different, but that's the way it displays. That's the way that it's coming out. A lot of that could be avoided with some of the things on this list. Quickly reduce stress in the moment. If you find out and look around and see that the temperature in the room has changed, don't keep going. Don't keep driving. Don't keep trying to get your point across. Don't try to do it. Don't do it. It will all fall apart on you. It will all fall apart on you. So you can do it and you can do it quickly. Sometimes if you just take a breath and allow the other person to speak and get out what it is they're trying to say, that frustration level will go down. Remain respectful. I think, Francine, I think you mentioned respect. See the other side. And here is one that gets us all the time: tactful tones. Be very careful of how you say what you say. You may not mean it, but it may be too late to explain that. Tactful tones. Understanding. When you talk, you're going to be talking to be understood. I need you to understand. There's another I message in there. I need you to understand how I feel. Doesn't mean you're going to change it necessarily, but if you are aware of how I feel about that, just maybe, just maybe you'll deal with it a little differently. Let's see, remain respectful, see the other side, tackle tone, understanding, value what's being said, act like you care, value what's being said, because it may not be important to you, but it's important to the other person. They can tell when you're not caring. I didn't want to use another word there, but they know when you're insincere. That's a good word to put there. They know, people know when you're insincere. So be sure that you value, and you can do that through body language, through verbal clues, nonverbal clues, through having control over your emotions in these instances. Be willing to compromise. Willing willing to compromise. And I took some poetic license here with the X, and I said, sometimes it's okay to be extra. Sometimes you got to have a little extra empathy. Sometimes you got to give people a little extra grace. Whatever you may need to do extra that will cover the situations and put things in a calmer place, a less chaotic place, a place where you have come together rather than ripping each other apart. Go the extra mile. Do that. Do that. You understand that your role matters. It does you no good to say, well, okay, and walk away feeling the same way that you did when you entered into the dialogue. Have you ever had that happen? That when you know you're just not getting through to the person, rather than setting a time to revisit it or slowing down, you'll just say, oh, okay, fine. But you are seething inside. You are so angry that you know it will not come together, and you just walk away. And then over time, the same thing happens again, and it will continue to do that. You're just going to recycle that same situation, that same problem, the same way that you feel over and over again, because you didn't set out to have a resolution about it. But it will take you and whoever it is that you are communicating with in order to come together and make a difference. Zeal. Zeal, we can get excited about a whole lot of things, but zeal must partner with wisdom. Selah must partner with wisdom. You did not go through all that you went through in order not to be able to help somebody else because of what you have learned along the way. Apply those lessons. They are important. They are important indeed. Okay? So those are the ABCs. Now, whatever it is that you want to discuss further, let me see if I can get back up here to my yeah, here it is. I think Victoria, I think you put it up. I think Francine put it up too. But I wanted to be sure that I put up my uh, email address, speaklifewithandrea@gmail.com. If you know of anybody that you think would like to participate in this, have them send me their information to that email, and we will include it in the discussion as we go forward. And we will do this until we get to a place where we have covered the things that are most important. It's interesting that some of the responses that I've already gotten from the village are the same. And we may find that there may be two or three that everybody that resonates with everybody. And it could be that we're just kind of all over the place, and that's fine. That doesn't matter. What matters is that we come away with some tools and some tips so that when we are in a conversation that could be tense, where we're in a situation where we really need to come to a resolve, where we are in a space where we need to communicate healthfully in love, then maybe these things will be of importance to you at that time. Okay? That's it for tonight. I thank you for joining me. I thank you for sharing this. If you have someone that, like I said, that you think may want to participate, we will be replaying this on Saturday at noon. So feel free to watch it again. I thank you again for being here. I thank you, those people who are a part of the village. I thank you for being here. I know it's a busy weekend for many, many of you. We've got Good Friday tomorrow and services. We have Resurrection Sunday and services. Bless the Lord. Find a church, find a group, find a way to bless the Lord in community, not just by yourself, but in community. You'll be surprised at what a difference that will make. That's all I've got for you. I want you to come back next week. Be sure to come back next week. We will be exploring some of this a little more. Give me your feedback. Let me know whether this is helpful to you or whether you're enjoying this, because it doesn't work without you. So when you come back next week, just be ready to turn down the volume of life, get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Good night, everybody.